What have we got here?
It's been quite some time since players last set foot upon Tyria's stony shores, but it won't be long before it ports open passage to a new age of adventurers in Guild Wars 2. Incessantly teased since its announcement in 2007, we are still no closer to knowing just when exactly the long-incubating MMO is due for delivery later this year. What we do know is that a brief trip into the beta this past week provided a tantalizing taste of what to expect from the game, and its ambitious attempt at redefining the genre. Our playing experience began rolling a level 1 character in each of the human, Norn, and Char starting areas. Following a set of background choices made during the character creation process, players are guided through a comprehensive introduction detailing the origin and impetus of your would-be hero. Each race's storyline stands apart as a separate tale of the region, easing players into the lore of the world, as well as the intricate tapestry of rules that define it. A focus on narrative and meticulously orchestrated cutscenes implies a directed path, but the actual playing experience is anything but. Right from the get-go, it's apparent that players in Guild Wars 2 wield much more freedom in taking on the world at their own pace. Quests in the traditional MMO sense have instead been replaced by the notion of events, dynamically occurring objectives that come in the flavors of one-off tasks and shared group activities. Often the biggest leads come from NPC scouts that give you a reading for the areas that could best use your help, but it also isn't out of the ordinary for players to simply stumble upon them too. Beleaguered villagers will break out of their routines to plead for a moment of your time, and errant occurrences like monsters and raiders ravaging the countryside reward spontaneous chivalry with karmic rewards. The biggest point of interest here is how other adventures come into the equation. Gone are the days of players voraciously tagging mobs and drops for their own benefit. If you're in the same area as other players, you're all in it together. In our experience, this approach has led to some interesting behaviors on the road. Soloing was less frequent, and players drawn to random world events would form ad hoc groups and travel together in small flocks. It's as if the conventional notion of grouping out of necessity has instead turned into something born out of shared interest and camaraderie. Funny enough, it all comes back to the idea of just helping each other out.
Thank the gods you came along.
Combat has also been one of Guild Wars 2's prime targets for renovation, and some early experimentation with some of the game's classes hint at a system rife with possibilities. The notable inclusion of dodge rolls informs a more active pace of play, while the downed state puts a novel spin on player death and resurrection mechanics. But perhaps the most significant new idea ties skills directly to weapon choice, making gear selection more than just a matter of stats. Your weapons form the foundation of your personal playstyle, and with the ability to spec out defining traits, abilities, and swap between two sets on the fly, there seems to be plenty of room for individuality and creativity. Thieves, for instance, can play their own unique take on support, while Guardians can craft characters capable of smiting foes and healing allies in one pragmatic stroke. The developers have stated that the aim is to make sure a wide variety of builds are fun and viable. This notion of combat versatility plays directly into the game's deconstruction of the so-called Holy Trinity. If all goes to ArenaNet's plans, the need for tanks, healers, and damage dealers in groups will go the way of the dodo. The new system is being built to run on party synergy versus codependency. A few runs through the level 30 instance Ascalon catacombs showed promise, with players sharing equal responsibility in dishing out damage as well as taking it, usually with a novel mechanic built just for that fight. As for competitive play, small-scale PvP at least, seems to be starting off on the right foot, with a number of base control-style maps that seem to be worth queuing up for.
Just keep getting better and better.
Much of Guild Wars 2 remains shrouded in mystery, and following this initial glimpse, we'll be following this much-anticipated MMO every step of the way. Check back in the coming months as we deliver updated impressions of the game leading up to our full review.
And stay down!